All right. Good evening. It is June the 30th, 2025. It's 5:15 p.m. and the Board of Town Commissioners for the Town of Bel Air Town Hall meeting is now in session. I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Rutledge.
Here.
Commissioner Chismar.
Here.
Commissioner Taylor.
Here.
And Commissioner Chance did let us know that she would not be here this evening, and as did Mr. Hopkins, the Town Administrator. He will not be with us this evening due to a prior commitment. So if everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that we approve the agenda for the June 30th, 2025 Board of Town Commissioners Town Hall meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Chismar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rutledge. And
I move that we amend the agenda to strike item 6B, the CDWG contract for Fortinet network switches, as it is no longer necessary for the board to take action on that item.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. I will second that motion. And we are going to now, any discussion of that, it is taken off the agenda because the dollar figure doesn't arise to the level where we need to consider it. All right. Mr. Krantz, we are voting on the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The motion to amend the agenda, removing the CWD network switch contract. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
The agenda is amended and approved. Thank you.
Actually, we have approved the amendment. Now we have to approve the amended agenda.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I know. So
Gotcha.
many.
So that was the approval for the amendment. Now to approve the agenda as amended. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
The agenda is now approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krantz. And first, we have the public hearing on Ordinance 842-25, amending the Town Code, Chapter 165, Article 7, Section 165-53H2A1D, revising the required distance between cannabis dispensaries. Is there anyone here that is a member of the public who wishes to comment just on this piece of legislation this evening? All right, we have opened and closed the public hearing at 5:17 p.m. All right, moving on to unfinished business. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that ordinance number 842-25, revising Town Code Chapter 165, Article 7, related to distances between cannabis dispensaries, be approved by the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Chismar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rutledge. Any discussion of the piece of legislation? I know it's just changing 1,000 feet for the distance between dispensaries to 1/2 mile, and that is the only change.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to say I kind of like this idea of making it what the state gives us as the maximum, because I'd really distance between dispensaries, because it's something new, and I'd like to see us crawl before we walk and run. And let's see what this is about. We can always change it in the future once we see what this business is about. But right now, let's go with, I'd say go with the maximum distance and then address it later if need be.
I certainly don't think it's wise to invite a proliferation of cannabis dispensaries into the town limits, so I think this is the prudent thing to do. Certainly there will be opportunity for review as we see what happens in the coming years, but this is certainly the best policy choice that we have before us, to the degree that the state has allowed us to make the best policy choice before us.
I agree. The only choice we have is what distance there is. We don't have any other choices here left to us by the state. So the choice between 1,000 feet to a maximum of 1/2 mile, we'll take 1/2 mile. All right, anything else from any of the commissioners? All right, I think we're ready for the vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the vote for the approval of Ordinance 842-25. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
The ordinance is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, under new business, we have the Dell marketing contracts for the PowerEdge R450 servers and Dell PCs. May I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the proposals from Dell Marketing to purchase 2 PowerEdge R450 servers and 5 ProSlim Plus personal computers in the combined amount of $16,679.47 be approved by the Board of Town Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Rutledge. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. And Mr. Krantz, is this you?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The motion reads exactly as the description is, to purchase 2 servers, for their IT department. I don't have too much else to explain or offer within those regards. If there are any questions, I could get Mr. Forth on the line if necessary, but I'd do my best to answer any that you may have.
This is an FY25 budget item.
It is,
Yep.
it is. We had tentatively budgeted this for FY26, but we are able to pull that backward, I guess you could say, into the current fiscal year. Hence the little bit of urgency to get your approval prior to July 1st.
That is today.
Yes, it
end
is.
of the fiscal year. We made
Yes,
it,
it is.
everybody.
Yes, it is.
Well, that's always a good thing. The town continues to be in great financial shape, and that's something we can all be grateful for.
And we can also be grateful that Josh is keeping us up to date on all of
Yes.
our technology upon which we have become so very dependent. So
Right.
thank you to Josh for that. Anything further from any of the commissioners? All right. Is there anyone here that is a member of the public that would like to comment on this contract only? No? All right. Mr. Krantz, I think we're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the approval of the 2 PowerEdge servers and 5 personal computers from Dell Marketing. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
The contract is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, under miscellaneous, we have one item, which is a discussion of the relocation of the district court. I did ask that this be put on our agenda so we could discuss it as a board publicly. There, of course, as everybody is aware, the state has purchased several properties over near the Target on Marketplace Drive in order to move the district court from its current downtown Bel Air location to that area. Unfortunately, of course, it's taken several properties off of our tax rolls, which is never really helpful. My concern about moving the district court is going to be very disruptive to our downtown economy. I am not sure if this is, I'm hoping it's not too far down the road to be a completely done deal. They have purchased some properties, but I think they're still negotiating for that Walgreens. I think they might need that to make this a go. I have a call in to Senator James. I was also going to call our State's Attorney Allison Healy, as well as the Sheriff Jeff Gaylor, to see how they felt about it. My idea is that there should be, the district court should remain here in downtown Bel Air, but there should be a satellite location over in the Route 40 corridor. I think that would be a win-win. It'd be great for the town, great for all the attorneys that work in town, the state's attorney's office, where they have attorneys going back and forth between the circuit and the district courts. It would serve the other half of the county by putting a district court location over there. It would be great for their economy in the Route 40 corridor. It might be nice for the sheriff's office that's got a southern district over there. Baltimore County has district court locations in Catonsville, Owings Mills, Dundalk, Towson, just spread all over to serve the entire county populace. And I think it would really be a boon to those folks that have to travel all the way from the other side of the county to here to, have their district court be local. So I wanted to hear the thoughts of the rest of the board. I think I should also contact our local district court, the administrative judge for the district court, Judge Miller, to get some input from all of them. I've also reached out to the mayors of Havre de Grace and Aberdeen to see if they would like to weigh in on it. And my other thought was to talk to some of the Route 40 business associations who may also welcome a district court location over there. I just don't see the wisdom of completely abandoning a large building in the middle of downtown, which had also not only been the district court, but you could get a fishing license there. The state comptroller used to have an office there. You could go over, if you were in Harford County anywhere and had a problem. I don't think we have any location in Harford County at all anymore from the comptroller's office. But to maintain it as a state office building, as well as the district court, rather than take some prime real estate off of the tax rolls and make them, another public building that we have, so. Any thoughts? First of all, I'd like to know if you are on board with that idea, or if you would prefer the current plan that the state has.
I firmly agree with everything you just said. I think that this this boondoggle is poorly planned, and our saving grace is that the state is in such dire financial situation that I don't think that the train is too far down the tracks, because the train hasn't even been put on the tracks yet, other than through purchasing those properties. You know, there are many things that there are many items on the state's wish list, and they all require money to fund, and the state seems to be in short supply to that these days. So for all the ways that has harmed us and harmed local government from passing costs back onto us, there may be a silver lining in that is probably slowing the process down than if we were in a picture-perfect financial situation where it may be full steam ahead. So I think contacting the delegation is smart. I think contacting particularly representatives from Route 40 who will be able to lobby on behalf of, because basically what we need to do is not just stop the train, but divert it to say, well, we're not saying don't do anything, but we are saying come up with a whole new plan for a whole new location, which is going to require a lot of momentum behind it. It's going to require a lot of bipartisan support. This can't be perceived as a Republican county doesn't like what the Democratic state is doing to it. It's got to be Harford County has a problem because the state of Maryland isn't doing what's best for Harford County, regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. You've got to drive the same distance from Aberdeen to get here, right?
That was exactly my thought. This is really something that is to serve the citizens of the entire county. It would
Absolutely.
be a plus for Bel Air, but it would also be a plus for the Route 40 corridor and everybody that lives in this county.
Certainly hollowing out that property is going to be terrible for the town of Bel Air. We get hit particularly hard. Folks who come into town to fight and or pay a traffic ticket, regardless of how tenacious you are, both of those people still eat lunch. They walk across Thomas Street, they walk down Main Street, they go into our stores. So my concern about putting it on Route 24, which is the proposed location, is that it totally isolates it from the rest of the walkable commercial infrastructure in town. Sure, it's great if you've got to pick something up at Target, but quite frankly, I'm a lot less concerned about looking out for Target than I am looking out for Vagabond, if I could put so fine a point on it. Target doesn't need the help. We love Target, but they don't need the help. It's our mom and pop shops, our local small unique businesses up and down Main Street and the adjutting spurs like Thomas Street that really rely on that courthouse traffic. And then, of course, there's just the question of what we do with a giant hole in the middle of our downtown footprint. It could go one of two ways. The state could say we're totally done with it, we're giving it over to the county and we'll see what happens. Or it could become a zombie property where it's operating at like 30-40% capacity, and some of those other state agencies continue to operate there, but the courthouse function, which is what brings most people to the property, is exported. So no matter how you slice it, I think that the current plan is a bad idea for Harford County. It's a bad idea for the state of Maryland, and it's not a good use of taxpayer dollars, and it'll harm businesses. So I think that our action plan needs to be formulating and taking a firm stance as a town, officially speaking, that we oppose this plan, but that we have an alternative. We're not just saying no. We want to help both our residents and the residents of other parts in the county. This can really be a win-win situation. As I understand it, in speaking with some members of the county administration, the county feels a very similar way. And I think it would behoove us both to lend our endorsement to whatever position letter they draft, and then also to draft our own to add to that chorus. So I would say when our state representatives, if they pick up this cause, as I hope that they do, when they go to lobby DGS and the governor's team and the folks who make this decision, they need to be armed with all the local support letters in the world that show every single major player, from the judicial community to the county government to the locals to the business community. They all want to see this plan redirected because they all view it as harming them, and they all view the alternative as better. And so the more tangible written documentation we can give them, the better. So I'm in favor of us writing a position that firmly articulates what you've laid out. I'm in favor of us lending our name and support to the county position, which I think will be quite similar, if not identical. And after speaking privately with the state's attorney, I think that position will be quite similar. We haven't heard anything, so I won't say anything more, but all I'll say is I think that there is a lot of view behind this, that a lot of people agree across party lines that this is a bad idea for Bel Air, a bad idea for Harford County, and we've got to change course.
And it really is plays into the state's desire to have everything be walkable. If you have the district court over by the Target, you're gonna have to get in your car to get there and to leave there and to get lunch and to do, pretty much do anything. The town has grown up around the courthouses. That's why there are so many attorneys' offices right, in the center of town. The courthouse is here. And they have an office and they walk to the courthouse and they have lunch in town and they walk back to their office. And it's really, what's part of what makes us very special. It's like a very walkable and small, tight community. And I think it would really destroy that. So I'm hoping that we can get everybody on board and sort of, get a wave going. And I agree with you. The budget is the only thing that's really saved this from going too far down the tracks to pull it back. But I think we have maybe an opportunity to do that now. Anything from
Yeah,
Commissioner
I
Rutledge,
was-
one of
I
our
was- I was
practicing,
seeing it.
one of our
Attorneys.
I was
practicing
just seeing
attorneys?
Commissioner Chismar wanted to weigh in first, but
No, go right ahead.
no, I think it's an outstanding idea, for all the reasons that you both articulated, and apart from the political posture, clearly has to be bipartisan, clearly across the lines, but just to pick up on the notion that the mayor, that you were just mentioning about the walkability, this is an opportunity, for the state to put their money where their mouth is with regard to trying to reduce carbon footprint, trying to make sure that people can walk, or are closer. Like, if we just took the commuter time and then the traffic congestion from the southern end of the county up into Bel Air. And, certainly Commissioner Chismar is familiar with this as the Planning Commission liaison, that one of the constant drumbeats is traffic studies. Have you had a traffic study? Is there too much traffic? What's going on? It's constant on that point. And so I think that this is a win-win for all of those stated state policies that are the official policies of the state of Maryland would be best served by this. I certainly years ago, visited and practiced in the satellite offices of some of them in Baltimore County in the district court. Other counties, I'm not sure, how many satellites they have in Prince George's County or Montgomery County, or other counties that have it. But I think our county is certainly ripe for that, and I would hope that the state could see its way to see that they probably haven't lost a dime on any of the real estate inflation. We were just exchanged a little texting about prices of properties just continue to go up, and the pressure, and particularly in this county, are rising. So I don't think that the state is in a position where it's going to lose any money by pulling out of the project and looking for a way to sell their properties that they did acquire. I think it would be a very important thing to get everybody on board, and certainly the articulation from the state's attorney's office on how they will staff that, how they will split that up, to hear from the district court judges and Judge Kerwin on, how they would envision splitting up the duties there with regard to assignments of a judge on that bench, or their rotation would be completely within their prerogative. But the concept, I think, is a great idea, and I would hope that we would get strong bipartisan support for it.
All right, well, thank you for your input, especially as a practicing currently attorney in town who walks everywhere. I see you.
No, I agree with everything everybody said. I mean, I would hate to see it leave downtown. I think what you're proposing, and what I think was proposed a while back, what the county proposed, was doing a Route 40 corridor satellite courthouse, but the state turned that down. But I think what you said about the walkability and the carbon footprint and things of that nature are state mandates that they're putting down, that this, doing so, putting one down in the Route 40 corridor satisfies that to the best. And, agree, get on board with what the county's doing, let's see what their letter is and their position, see if we can jump in on that. Write our own, as Commissioner Taylor said, and you said, even get, you know, the district attorney, the judicial, the Harford County Bar Association, I don't know what their feelings are on this.
That's another good suggestion. I missed that one, the Bar
And
Association.
let's see how they feel about that, because, you know, they're moving it out there now. Like you said, all the attorneys, a lot of attorneys have their offices in town. So now they're gonna be driving to get to, they can walk now, but they're gonna be driving there now if they have to go over to 920 or 24 area. So I think we have a good position going forward. If we get everybody on the same, shouting the same,
The message. yes.
message, right, that I think we might be able to make headway here, so,
Well, we're certainly going to try.
yeah.
So if anybody thinks
Let's do
of
it.
anyone else that we should reach out to and include in this endeavor, you know, let me know. But those were just my thoughts, and I'll be reaching out to those people to see. We certainly wouldn't want to go ahead and then find out later that the sheriff or the state's attorney was opposed to such a plan. But the way they staffed it in Baltimore County was, when I worked in the Baltimore County State's Attorney's Office, we reported to the central office in Towson. And then Wednesday, you might be going to the Catonsville District Court, or you might be going to the Dundalk District
right.
Court. But there were no offices, you know, in the satellite locations for us, but we really didn't need any. We carried our files with us. I don't know if they still carry paper files. Maybe it's all in a laptop. But back in the day, you picked up your paper files for the cases and went off and did
Right.
business, and then came back to the office and turned in all your casework. So it worked very well. I mean, in Baltimore County, not every courthouse has to be a Taj Mahal. The one district court location in Dundalk, I remember the first time I went there, before GPSs and cell phones, I had to stop a police officer and ask where it was, because it was in the basement of a retail building. They rented space down there, and it was set up with, you know, judges on the dais and everything, and tables for the attorneys in the front. But it was, you know, space where they found it. It was convenient. It had parking, and it was, I guess, reasonable rent, so there we were in the district court. Some of the other district courts were actually built as district court buildings. The one in Essex, I believe, was actually built as a district court building, but, and I think Baltimore City also has satellite district courts in various locations.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
absolutely.
Yeah, so, you know, our message just has to be, how's it advantageous to the state? How's it advantageous to us? Like you said, it should be a win-win. And if they do move, that's gonna be a big hit to downtown, because
Right.
there are several hundred employees there that, so, you know, use our businesses to shop and for lunch and
And not
and
just
th-
the
and our
employees,
restaurants,
but
you
the
know,
folks that come in
that come
to
in,
do business.
that do business in town, right? And they will not be coming in town. So that could be a big hurt. We need to push forward. I think that might be one of our number one.
I will circulate a
Things to
list
do.
of who I think we should reach out to, and everybody can pile on if they think I've missed anything, think of anybody else that we should talk to. And certainly, Angela, if you have any contacts anywhere, let us know. The Route 40 business groups, I'm sure, would be interested in a plan like that.
Do we have a
Downtown
list?
Alliance.
Downtown
Downtown
Alliance.
Alliance, right. Do we have a list of everybody that's in that building? What offices? Do we know?
I do.
We do, okay. I mean,
Would
and
you
it's-
like to know?
I'm impressed.
well, not-
Um,
well, I'm just thinking that would be our focus.
Yeah.
Those groups that do business there, whether some of them, like the attorneys with the municipal court.
Right.
Are there other local people that do business there that's walkable for them? Now it's gonna be, they're gonna have to drive.
Right. Are you interested in hearing what other
Sure.
departments are there?
Yeah.
Assessments and taxation, district court, obviously, general services, human resources, juvenile services, labor licensing and regulations, natural resources, parole and probation, public defender, rehabilitation services, fire marshal, and veterans affairs are currently housed in.
Email that to us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, some convenient time later
Sure.
in the week. Thank you, I'd appreciate that.
Yep.
It's just we have it.
Yep.
And I'll, like I said, circulate a list of who I remember that we mentioned this evening as far as people we
Right.
should reach out to, either to get them on board or to at least see if they're opposed to it. And I'll
'Cause-
circulate that, and if anybody has any other suggestions, we'll.
Sure,
It's
I'd
like
be
the
happy to
public-
offer some
Right.
suggestions in addition.
Yeah, because the public defender's office would also be supporting circuit court, would they not? So they're within walkable distance
Yes.
of circuit court.
Yes, they go to both,
Right.
they go to circuit and
So-
district court. that's the thing with the state's attorney's office, too. They
They're
go to
on-
district and
okay.
circuit, and often
Right.
attorneys, you know, when I was in Baltimore County, would say, can I go first because I have a case, you know, in circuit court in Towson, and we're in Catonsville. So having them close by really helps everybody out as far as keeping things moving, keeping the courts moving, not having anybody waiting, and not driving all over the place. So I think it will be a win-win for everybody. So we'll see.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Angela.
All right. Now, if we're finished with that discussion, I think we're on to public comments. If there's any member of the public here this evening who wants to comment on any topic, whether it was on this evening's agenda or not, you are welcome to come to the podium and have your 3 minutes. All right. No one here for public comment. All right. Commissioners' comments.
It was a wonderful morning last weekend celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Bel Air Farmers Market. We had a lot of wonderful, we have a lot of wonderful vendors who were out in full force. It was as thronged as I've ever seen it thronged. I mean, it was just packed. It was a wonderful showing supporting our vendors. We got a lot of support from them. You know, we provide them support, they provide us support. We had a great showing from other elected officials from the county. You know, I think we had a quorum of the county council in attendance. They could have met right there in the parking lot. So it was great to see that outpouring of support, and it was really nice to see the support for the award winner and folks who have been putting decades upon decades of their life and their blood and their sweat and their tears and their family time into making that what it is now. And we really are blessed to have one of the largest producer markets in the state right here in the heart of Hartford. I also wanted to mention for my colleagues, I will be bringing forward a very simple 1 or 2 sentence piece of legislation for discussion at the July 15th work session. It has to do with the location of sheds on corner lots. Currently, the sheds are rather restricted on corner lots. What the legislation would do is allow a shed to be constructed 6 feet off the right-of-way on a corner lot facing a street, provided that the shed is still behind the facade of the house, the front facade of the house. That came from a constituent over down by Langford who was having trouble with erecting a shed that he wanted to build. And so I worked with Director Small and Administrator Hopkins, sort of wordsmithing what I guess we'd call it the least restrictive means to keep the shed provision of the code as intact as possible, while also allowing that guy to be able to build a shed, because truthfully there was, in my view, no good reason why this guy shouldn't be allowed to put up a shed. And we came upon a piece of legislation that will preserve the aesthetics of the neighborhood while also allowing folks to be able to, you know, improve their property and in a inoffensive and manner that is, you know, as simple as a baseball, right? I mean, you know, just not more. You don't get much more simple than having a shed in your backyard. So we'll have that discussion on July 15th. But I wanted to make everybody aware of that coming down the pipe because it was a relatively minor change. I didn't think it necessary to put it through all the rigmarole that we put through some of the bigger pieces of legislation. But we can discuss it on the 15th.
Madam Chair, I'd like to share with the commission that it was my pleasure to be able to attend and support the dedication of Hartford Chabad, and Rabbi Cushi Schusterman was certainly happy to see the town well represented, because Chief Moore and Kimberly Blanton were out there up front. Chief Moore had additional assistance from time to time during the hot afternoon, helping keep people safe as they were parking at the Klein's ShopRite, that was gracious enough to provide parking on Sunday for the dedication of the Chabad. And the turnout was fantastic for them. They had rabbis from all throughout the United States. And yes, such a great presentations and very thoughtful, moving presentations done by all of the speakers there. It was quite an honor to be able to be there, and it was very moving, as at least one of the speakers related about his grandparents being Holocaust survivors, and the history and the memorial, you know, of that and how that was built into their community. And what I also learned was that in addition to Harford County, that there are you know, a community in Cecil County that will also have be able to benefit from this facility. They're very Rabbi Cushy, as many of us call him, Schusterman, was very clear about how excited they are to be here in Harford County and in Bel Air to be able to continue to grow. The facility, if you have a chance to go by and go in the building, it's beautiful. The architecture was fantastic. And so it was just a really great thing. And during the presentation, Rabbi Cushy mentioned specifically how much he appreciated the knowing our chief, Chuck Moore, so well, and his just attention to the community, his encouragement of them, and that they felt so uplifted, really, by what our chief of police represented for this town. And he called him out specifically, and I wanted to share that. It was a wonderful thing, and we're so fortunate to have this growth on Broadway. And thank you for letting me take our proclamation over and deliver that. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm good.
Certainly, the opening, once that building got started, boy, it just, it went great guns. It just went very quickly. I'm so happy to see that they're up and open, and I appreciate that you were able to take the proclamation over there. What a great thing. It's really been a lot of changes on Broadway between that and the property next door, the older building that faces right on Broadway, and that strip of rental townhouses really has made a big change in that section of Broadway. It looks terrific, so. 50th was really well attended for the market, and of course, we are all going to leave and then get ready for the 4th of July.
Yes,
Our next big event. I think that's probably where our chief is right now, probably planning for the 4th of July. All right, anything else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.